last 2 weeks has had some issues at
Yeah, I
times.
think last week was totally different than the week before.
Okay.
I mean, in this game, I thought we were pretty good. The first drive they hit, they drove and scored, but really after that, we had the one double-digit run that led to a field goal. So we ended up holding them 10 points in the first half, and then after that, they had the long run there when it was a 3-possession game. But when you look at overall the yardage, like counting the first drive, even in the first 61 plays, they only averaged 4.4 yards per play. So I'll take that. There's some things that we need to fit better as a team. I mean, when you talk about run defense, it's D-line, linebackers, and secondary. Just like pass defense is rush and coverage, so it's a little bit of everything. So, those guys I thought did a pretty good job of working the game and understand what to do, and made some plays, particularly in the second half. Like when you look at the second half, they only had one drive over 4 plays. So I thought the guys did a pretty good job that way.
So will Greenard, though, and Zuniga, how much will they bolster that aspect of
Well, I think
the
anytime you add
defense?
guys that have ability to win one-on-one blocks and create mismatches that way, it helps you win some one-on-one blocks. I think anytime you can add guys like that, it helps.
Okay.
How strong is this Georgia ground game?
They're really good. I mean, when you look at them, they're really talented up front. They're big guys that push the pile. They probably got the best back in the country as far as when you look, he can really accelerate. He can take a seam and he'll run to daylight, which, really good backs will do, and he's got the speed and acceleration to do it. They got a really good quarterback and get him in the right place. So, the combination of all that make them a good team.
From your perspective, how much of their offense does center around DeAndre Swift?
Well, I think that anytime you have an elite player like that, you're going to find ways to get him the ball. So they'll get him the ball in the run game, obviously, but they can swing it or screen it and get him the ball that way in space. But their backs in general are really good, not only him, but the guys that play behind him. So we know it's going to be a challenge, so we'll work on ourselves this week and work to get better and get healthier and start on them on Monday.
Their offensive line, many consider maybe the best in the country. What
Yeah.
do you see from it?
I think you can argue that. I mean, I haven't seen everybody in the country, so I think that when you look at them, they're really big, they're physical. They can push the pile, they can move the point of attack. They play with a little bit of attitude. They do a really good job, so we're going to have to be ready for a challenge.
You said working on yourself this week. What are some of those things you're working on?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is one, guys that have played a lot of snaps, trying to get them some rest, recovery. Guys that we're looking at to help us, like Bogle, Mamu, Brunson, guys like that. The young corners, being able to get those guys reps on things that we're going to do moving forward to be ready if called upon, because when an injury happens, you got to have next man up, and that's been our attitude.
You guys seem like you've kind of played 2 different duos at safety when you rotate them there. Do they have different strengths or is it ability?
No, it's just a matter of, they all played in the 35 to 45 play range. We just feel like with the guys that we have, they all have talent, they all have ability. It's better to play all 4 of those guys, say, in the 40s, as opposed to, a couple guys 75 or 80. I mean, trying to keep guys fresh. So really it's just a matter of trying to keep guys fresh and into what we're doing, and we have the luxury with having 4 guys that we can do that.
What kind of seasons David Reese having, production-wise? He's leading the SEC in tackles.
Well, David is a very physical guy in the box. He's done a really good job of understanding our defense and where he needs to fit. He's really improved, I felt like, over last year. He's a good tackler. He's strong at the point of attack.
How excited are you to have Greenard and Zuniga back?
I think anytime you can get guys that are playmakers, guys that affect the game both in the run and the pass, that can win one-on-one blocks, it's going to excite you.
Move Trey back to star mostly for this last game. How did you see him respond after playing mostly Marco there?
He did a good job. I mean, football is about matchups and what are the best matchups relative to who we're seeing. And he understood what we were doing. And I think the biggest thing is you always got to have communication with players to make sure they understand here's what we're doing, here's why. And everybody's got to be into that team approach, and we'll take the team approach and do the best we can with the players we have available and work to be successful and win games.
What does South Carolina do to kind of get Georgia out of this game, this offense?
Well, they got 4 turnovers, so that helps. I mean, anytime you can get 4 turnovers. I think the biggest thing is they got the pick 6. So they, when they got their hand, then they had the ball batted up and they got it. So when the ball was available, they made some plays. You know, they got some turnovers at key times to keep the numbers down, the points down. And they're a pretty good defense inside, and I thought their guys up front did a good job. So I think the combination of being opportunistic with the turnovers and then doing a decent job inside, they were able to, you know, win the game.
CJ's kind of getting a lot of criticism. Do you think that's maybe just because he's a high NFL prospect and they start to kind of pick guys apart?
I think anytime you're a high-profile player that make a lot of plays, people have a certain standard, and then they're always going to look for things to critique on you. Like I've said, he's a really good player. He's the best player that I'd coached, college or pro. You know, he's a guy that has improved his tackling from game one to now. He's going to make plays for us moving forward, and I'm glad he's on our team.
You've coached some pretty good players.
I have, and he's good.
You guys had, it looked like 3 linebackers out there sometimes. When you guys did that, was Amari playing star?
Yeah.
How comfortable was he with that?
He's good. I mean, he made that play when we were backed up, you know, and they tried to take the shot. I mean, he's really fast. He's got very good, like, savvy instincts. He's a good football player, and you always try to find ways to get good players on the field.
He seemed to get his head just around at times and not get that, you know, get pass interference calls.
Yeah.
You mean just kind of instincts?
Yeah, well, not only that, but his leverage on the guy. He had good leverage on the guy. He was running with the guy. A little bit better ball. He may have been able to pick it. You know, he makes plays for us. And just try to find ways to get guys that make plays on the field.
Time for 2 more. We haven't seen Brent Cox. Did his NCAA waiver get
Yeah, you got to ask Dan about all that. I'm just coaching the guys. They tell me he's available.
Will you pick his brain this week or next week about personnel, things like that?
I kind of watch the tape.